Hey, how's it going? This is officially day 13 of my hypersomnia video diary, lucky number 13. Um, so today, I have like a little fun question, I guess, and then some more like medical and also investigational therapy info. So, first off, we always talk about what are the negative effects of hypersomnia. It makes you tired and blah 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 blah. So, what are the benefits of hypersomnia, if any? So, I came up with a little short list here. Um, Obviously, the biggest power force in hypersomnia is sleep. So, what could some potential benefits be of that? One is a lot of people say that I'm very calm natured, and I'd like to hear from other people with hypersomnia. People say that I don't get stressed out that easily. I'm very calm usually, and very I'm just easygoing in a sense. So I wonder sometimes if that is a benefit of hypersomnia because I am do feel slowed down in a sense in my mind or at other times, and I'm very conscious and trying to preserve and conserve energy wherever possible, in my own body. So it leads me to not freak out a lot or get overreactive in a situation. So that could be attributed to hypersomnia. It's hard to say. Um, this is a clear and obvious one. I can fall asleep anywhere, whether I'm on a plane, a train, in a car, sitting up, during the day, if it's afternoon, early evening, night, in situations where it's very noisy or there's something very disruptive. I can sleep very easily in both hot and cold temperatures. Although too hot, I've experienced this once or twice. It is impossible to sleep in. If you're completely drenched and sweating, I guess maybe you could pass out from heat exhaustion. But that's the one of the instances that I felt like that I couldn't sleep, and that was in Australia in rainforest in Cairns, and so 100% humidity, probably 110 degrees, pretty miserable. Let's see what else. Because of hypersomnia, oops, and I mentioned this before, uh, I can fall asleep in less than 5 minutes, so getting the sleep is never an issue. It's always pretty nice and enjoyable. But that means, wherever I am, usually, obviously, the situation may change the circumstances, but it doesn't take me very long to fall asleep at all. So I never stress about not being able to sleep. Um, and on that note, I rarely get insomnia. Um, I know that's something common with a lot of people where, you know, pretty regularly they'll have insomnia and they can't sleep, or they're waking up a lot through the evening and things like that. Maybe once or twice a year at the very most do I get insomnia. And when I do, though, it sucks really bad because since I didn't get this, my normal 10 hours or whatever it was that night, that means the next day or night I have to do double. My body wants double that. So, um, let's see. Apparently when you sleep, your body's going through different processes of memory storing and organization, as well as healing illnesses and cuts and scrapes and infections and all those types of things. This isn't a fact, but based on that fact, I'd like to possibly infer that maybe my body is is able to heal itself more. I can't prove that, and I'm not even. I don't think necessarily that my cuts heal faster, but if I am sleeping more, does that mean my body gets to heal more and things like that? And I mentioned yesterday because hypersomniacs sleep more. Does that mean that they're potentially getting more REM, more dreams, or hence the ability to possibly dream more? I don't know. I can't confirm or deny that, as I said yesterday. Um, because of my extended sleep, I don't necessarily see any sort of benefits. Um, Sleep is supposed to help with aging and things like that. I can't tell. I have four other brothers, and all our genetics, based on my dad's genetics, uh, and my mom's as well, are aging very well. So I guess I'm um, in no arrogant type of way, but I've been commented that I look a lot younger than that I am. I'm age 40 right now, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. So that kind of sums up my benefits of hypersomnia. I tried really hard to think about something else from hypersomnia that maybe not directly affect it with sleep, but honestly, I can't. It doesn't feel, there's no benefits from being sleep drunk. Actually, the last funny one I thought that is related to sleep though is, you know, I don't do this, but it's an obvious joke one. You could always use hypersomnia as an excuse for the fact that you fell asleep, at an event or a boring movie or during someone's boring conversation or something. But outside of the sleep, there's no other benefit to hypersomnia. It just is what it is. I should have, I didn't think about this yesterday, and I mentioned it previously, but as yesterday I was going along the lines of, what other things help, or what happens when I drink a coffee or tea or things like that. And I kind of explained the effects of that. If you missed it, go ahead and watch day 12. But I mentioned in the beginning of all these videos that I do smoke an electronic cigarette, so an e-cig, whatever you want to call it, vapor nicotine, mint, my favorite flavor. I have been, I didn't smoke cigarettes pretty much my whole entire life, and when I didn't say, I'm not a smoker and I didn't smoke, I've probably tried to smoke a cigarette out of curiosity, or recreationally or whatever. Probably 5 or 6, less than 10 times my whole life, so less than 10 times in 40 years. And that wouldn't even be a whole cigarette. It's just a momentary, I forgot what that's like, let me try it again. And I've always hated cigarettes. Cigarettes make me feel very nauseous, very dizzy, lightheaded, sick to my stomach. I get really, really flush. Make me feel like I'm gonna like pass out, and that effect will continue on for 30 up to 30 minutes. Um, that is that was my history with cigarettes. Although I had always thought that maybe perhaps the isolated chemical of nicotine, maybe that has its own beneficial properties, because I've heard and read stuff, and you know um, cigarettes obviously have a lot of additives in them, and uh, other crappy things like fiberglass, or it's all additives or whatever. But people say there's arsenic in it and things like that. So maybe those are the things that were actually making me sick in a cigarette. I don't know, but that's what my assumption is. What I can say is that two things. Um, the e-cigarette does not make me feel sick at all. No nauseous feeling, no uh, upset stomach, lightheadedness, nausea, nothing like that. So that kind of, made me feel like my theory of the additives being the issue was correct. Um, I will say about nicotine. So I did a little look up again on nicotine today, and what nicotine does. So just like cannabis receptors, which is marijuana or whatever, and opiate receptors, your body also has nicotine receptors. So it's kind of interesting. It's like our bodies were wired already to receive nicotine. But nicotine actually, when you ingest it, it stimulates the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors, which indirectly promotes the release of many chemical neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, vasopressin, serotonin, and dopamine, as well as others, and also some endorphins. So, and it also, nicotine also extends the duration and life of I'm sorry, nicotine also extends the life and duration of dopamine, and dopamine's effects. So, why I say that's interesting is Adderall releases three, if not, there may be a few other chemicals that Adderall releases, but Adderall releases three of the main ingredients of being awake, just like nicotine, which is norepinephrine, epinephrine, serotonin, I don't think Adderall releases serotonin, but sorry, dopamine. So I tr- I tried electronic cigarettes about 5 years ago, and what I found is that there is a stimulatory effect to it, and a sense of alertness that it can give you as an immediate reaction. And I think it's publicly known that um, the effects of nicotine are kind of short-lived in the sense of the brain, and that's why people who are chronic smokers and things like that, or they chain smoke, um, um, or because they're trying to maintain that level of nicotine, serotonin, and epinephrine and things like that. So it is a chemical which I guess it has an addictive property to it, obviously. Um, and I will say that similar to caffeine, I've come to use nicotine as some sort of placebo or crutch. Although those two chemicals, caffeine and nicotine, have stimulating and wake alertness properties, um, I have never been able to just smoke an e-cigarette and stay awake without medicine. And that's what I'm doing, the whole day. I'm supplementing my loss of neurotransmitter wakeful reactions with nicotine to try to counterbalance that. I will say that I use the e-cigarette as sort of like a crutch in between times when I start to feel like I'm getting a little bit tired, or I feel like my brain is starting to slow down. Then I will smoke from it. So just wanted to touch on nicotine, extremely complex and interesting chemical too, as it relates to hypersomnia. I couldn't find a whole lot, but obviously it does have a wakeful and alertness quality to it. So the last thing I was going to go into is just some investigational therapy stuff that I found out as I was looking today, which is pretty cool. And again, this is going to go back to histamine, because histamine again seems like it's got dirty hands in a lot of this. And I'll post the links to where I got these articles from too, so you can have a look at this. But and actually, I'm gonna pull up a slide at the end of this video too. But so they've been looking at the modeling of histamine H3R, and it as an antagonist and an inverse antagonist for future drugs for neurological diseases. The article goes on to state that while there's no cure for narcolepsy-related diseases, treatment focusing on symptoms seems to be the only control. However, the symptomatic treatments are often unsatisfactory. And again, that's my complaint now, where I'm saying, I can't expect Adderall to cure the disease, or to make me even 100%, but I expect it to bring me up to 90. So let's see what else. So the H3 receptor stuff that they're finding out, antagonists, H3 receptor antagonists, is the possibility of a new therapeutic treatments in medications for patients and anyone suffering with any sort of narcolepsy or excessive daytime sleepiness, idiopathic hypersomnia, and so on. One of the H3 neurotransmitter or chemical components they named out specifically, which I have to do more reading on, is JZP-110. They're saying now that as I mentioned before, that the H3 receptor is associated with several neurological or neurophysiological diseases. It's predominantly expressed in the central nervous system as a pre-symptomatic receptor, especially in regions associated with cognitive and behavior, which is responsible for the modulate and the synthesis and release of histamine and other neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine, dopamine, and serotonin. Therefore, the H3 they're saying is an important target because it's involved with so many CNS disorders like narcolepsy, attention deficit disorder, IH, schizophrenia. They've all demonstrated pro-cognitive effects in both humans and animals in testing. So the future, at least the current future, these articles are from 2017, just August, a few months ago. The future is these hippocretine, hypothalamus, H3, histamine related therapies are going to potentially modify the clinical course of this disease or those diseases. However, there's also a lot more research that has to be done. These are these types of neurotransmitters also work with the immuno response. So there's I think questions about what it's going to do to the entire autoimmune system. You know, if you're trying to treat with these very high level chemicals like histamine. So that is where I'm going to stop today. I hope this is pretty informative. I have a couple things I'll talk about tomorrow. I was already thinking of just some general questions about naps and benefits of that, and what is my own personal sleep schedule, and ideally, and when it goes off course, what does it look like too. Last two notes, because I have a slide that I was going to bring up too, and let me grab that while I'm just chatting to you. But let's see. So, I forgot what I was going to say there. Hang on one second. Let me minimize this and see. Yeah, I don't know. I forgot that last bit. But so again, to reiterate the fact that let me take down some of these things. To reiterate the fact that hypersomnia is so complex and rare and misunderstood, I wanted to grab just a little slide right here. Now, hopefully this is gonna come out good. Let me get the camera so I can make sure that it looks good. Okay. All right. Bring my webcam around. So right here, this is looking. So this is your different neurotransmitter brain systems. Okay. Let me try to see if I can hold the camera a little more still. These regulate cognitive processes and behaviors, and I just want to show you. So all of these things are directly affected by hypersomnia, and I just want to kind of highlight on how complex this is. There we go. So noradrenaline itself touches anxiety, arousal, your circadian awake rhythm, cognitive control, feeding, control of respiration, negative emotional memories, reward, and perception of pain. Dopamine itself touches arousal, just like noradrenaline. I'm sorry, noradrenaline is the first one. Sorry if I said norepinephrine. Also cognitive control, motor functions, also the positive reward center. Histamine does arousal, again, just like the other two. Feeding, just like noradrenaline. Learning, memory, just like the two above. Serotonin, again, same thing. We see arousal is affected by serotonin, reward, sensory perception, mood. Acetylcholine, again, arousal, emotion, learning, things like that. So the reason that I'm showing you these things, and let me just get this back. I'll just hold the mic or the camera for the last section. The reason that I'm showing you these things here is that let me minimize that. Okay, is it just again, it all ties together. There's so much to know and so much to learn and understand about the brain and its possible effects and what it's doing when someone has hypersomnia that like again, I'll keep saying this till the day I die probably. It's just a very complex disorder disease. And to have to look at so many variables, all those complex systems in the brain, neurotransmitter systems. There was 5 of them there that I showed you, each of them affecting very similar and also different things. So if just one of those were off, you could have hypersomnia, or you may have a flaw in each of those. No, that's part of the thing that no one knows. Um, okay, again, so I will stop this video here. Thanks again for joining. I hope this was informative, and see you tomorrow.